Welcome to this quick explainer. Today, we've got just about 3 minutes to dive into the absolutely fascinating world of launch vehicle avionics. We always see the fire and fury of a rocket launch, but right now, we're zooming in on the invisible digital intelligence required to actually control millions of pounds of thrust. To kick things off, let's look at this brilliant quote from a software developer at the NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. They hit the nail on the head, saying, "The avionics are the brains behind the Space Launch System rocket." Basically, if the propulsion system is the raw muscle, the avionics is absolutely the brain.
So what does that actually mean? Well, avionics encompasses all the electrical hardware, electronic components, and flight software that fly, track, guide, and steer the vehicle. Because let's be real, without tiny silicon chips and intricate algorithms actively steering the ship, all that explosive engine power is completely useless. It's the avionics that directs that thrust safely into orbit.
Now, this brain relies on a complete nervous system made up of a few core subsystems. You've got flight computers acting as the central processing unit. Then there's guidance, navigation, and control, or GNC, which basically figures out where the rocket is and where it needs to go. Add in electrical power, sensors for gathering data, and telemetry to talk to the ground, and you've got the whole shebang required for a successful mission.
And as you'll see here, these subsystems aren't just shoved into one random corner of the rocket. They actually run throughout the entire vehicle, acting very much like a digital spinal cord. Payload modules, flight computers, and communication systems are all strategically distributed and wired together so every single part of the rocket can communicate seamlessly.
When designing this nervous system, engineers have a major choice to make. Do they go monolithic or modular? Older, monolithic designs relied on a single main computer, but that's a massive central point of failure, right? If it goes down, the mission is literally over. So today, engineers heavily favor a modular architecture. This separates tasks into independent nodes, making the system highly scalable, easily upgradable, and incredibly fault-tolerant.
This modular approach is often built on what's called a hardware-arbitrated serial canvas architecture. It sounds complex, but it just means functionally distinct devices, like your flight recorder, inertial measurement unit, and data acquisition board, act as completely independent nodes chatting on a shared network. The huge perk here, you can swap out or upgrade one specific subsystem without having to redesign the entire rocket. Which brings us to a really fascinating question. During the violent, shaky chaos of a launch, how does the rocket's brain actually know what its body is experiencing? How does it know if a stage separated properly or if the pressure is dangerously high? Well, the rocket relies on two distinct categories of senses to figure this out. First up, proprioceptive sensors. Just like you can close your eyes and know exactly where your arm is, these give the rocket internal body awareness, things like monitoring battery levels and detecting stage separations. Second, we have external sensors. These measure the outside environment, gathering absolutely crucial data on temperature, barometric pressure, and motion. But the rocket doesn't just keep this info to itself. All of the sensory data is rapidly downlinked as telemetry to ground support stations. This continuous stream of data means the flight operations team can visualize the rocket's precise trajectory, velocity, and overall health in near real time. And that's what allows them to make critical split-second decisions. Now, because you only get one shot to light the fuse, engineers rely heavily on hardware-in-the-loop, or HWIL, testing. Before launch day even arrives, they place the actual flight hardware into a lab and run thousands of simulated flight scenarios. They use real-time digital models to literally trick the rocket's brain into thinking it's flying, simulating all sorts of different environments and failure conditions to totally bulletproof the system. So, as we marvel at this perfect fusion of software brains and propulsion brawn lighting up the night sky, we really have to appreciate the unseen digital orchestra making it all happen. It leaves us to wonder, with the rapid rise of new processing architectures and ever-shrinking components, what wild, intelligent new technologies will drive the avionics of our next generation of spaceflight? Thanks for joining me for this quick explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you next time.